Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, on this occasion, my friend Nurandini and I will explain material related to the syllabus in ESP. I am Hulfira as the first speaker and the second speaker by Nurandini. The first material. What do we mean by a syllabus? A syllabus is a document which says what will or at least what should be learned. Syllabus is simply a statement of what is to be learned. Secara sederhana, silabus adalah pernyataan tentang apa yang akan dipelajari, but in fact there are several different ways in which a syllabus can be defined. The first, the evaluation syllabus. As we have said, at its simplest level, a syllabus can be described as a statement of what is to be learned. The kind of syllabus will be most familiar as the document that is handed down by ministers or other regulating bodies. It illustrates what the successful learned will know by the end of the course. Akibatnya, itu mencatat dasar di mana keberhasilan atau kegagalan akan dievaluasi. The second, the organizational syllabus, as well as listing what should be learned. A syllabus can also state the order in which it is to be learned. We might call this an organizational syllabus. In our sense, syllabus evaluasi memenuhi peran ini, di mana mereka biasanya mencantumkan apa yang harus dipelajari. For example, the first year of learning, the material syllabus. The syllabus say nothing about how learning will be achieved, but a syllabus, like a course design model, is only as good as the interpretation that is put on it. The author decides the context in which the language will appear, the relative weighting and any aspect of language, the degree of recycling or revision. The fourth, the teacher syllabus, the second stage. The great majority of students in the world learn language through the mediation of a teacher. Thus, we have the teacher syllabus. Seperti penulis materi, the teacher can influence the quality, intensity, and frequency of any item, and thereby affect the image that the learners receive. The fifth, the classroom syllabus. The classroom then is not simply a natural channel for the passage of information from teacher of learning. The classroom thus generates its own syllabus. The classroom to create conditions which will affect the nature of a planned lesson. The sixth, the learn syllabus. The learn syllabus discussed yet are not normally considered to be external syllabus. The learners might participate in this creation to some extent, but essentially they are external to the learned. It is a retrospective record of what has been learned rather than a prospective plan of what will be learned. It is for this reason that the learners must be taken into account on a continual basis through every stage of the course design process. The second material, why should we have a syllabus? There are also acknowledged and hidden reasons for having a syllabus. The first, language is a complex entity. Bahasa adalah intensitas yang kompleks. It cannot be learned in one go. We have to have some way of breaking down the complex into manageable units. The second, in addition to its practical benefits, selain manfaat praktisnya, silabus juga memberikan dukungan moral kepada guru dan peserta didik. The third, a syllabus, particularly an ESP syllabus, also has a cosmetic role. Setelah sebuah silabus, khususnya silabus ESP, juga memiliki peran kosmetik. The fourth, the syllabus can be seen as a statement of project roles, sehingga guru dan pelajar tidak hanya memiliki gagasan tentang kemana mereka pergi, tetapi bagaimana mereka bisa sampai ke sana. The fifth, a syllabus is an implicit statement of views on the nature of language and learning. Jadi silabus adalah pernyataan implisit pandangan tentang sifat bahasa dan pembelajaran. Sebuah silabus kemudian memberitahu guru dan siswa tidak hanya apa yang harus dipelajari, tetapi secara implisit mengapa itu harus dipelajari. The sixth, a syllabus provides a set of criteria for material selection and or writing. It defines the kind of text to look for or product, the items to focus on in exercise. The seventh, uniformity is a necessary condition of any institutionalized activities such as education. A syllabus is one way in which standardization is achieved or at least authentic. The eighth, in that teaching is intended to lead a learner to a particular state of knowledge. Okay, the next material will be explained by Nurandin.
So here I will continue the material from my partner. Here I will explain part C on what criteria can be a syllabus be organized. Jadi pada kriteria apa saja silabus itu dapat diatur. We note above that one of the main purpose of a syllabus is to break down of the mass knowledge to be learned into manageable units. This breakdown, unless it is to be completely random, has to be based on certain criteria. Presented below are some contents lists from a range of ESP courses, illustrating the different criteria that can be used. Jadi, the first or part A, topic syllabus. Topic-based syllabus is based on the topic which are selected from the student's specialist studies and the language analysis based of appropriate syntax. Part B, structural or situational syllabus. The focus of structural syllabus is on aspect of grammar, e.g. verb, tenses, sentence patterns, article, noun, and the other. Part C, functional or national syllabus, entails conceptual means, notions, e.g. times, speech, and quantity, express talk, language, or logical relationship, and the communicative purpose, for which we use language, e.g. greeting, request, apologies, description, compression, cause, and effect. And part D, skill syllabus. Skill-based syllabus is organized around the different underlying abilities they are involved in using the language for purpose of such as listening, speaking, reading, writing. Part E, situational syllabus. A situational syllabus is a collection of real imaginary situations in which language occurs or is used. Part F, functional or task-based syllabus. A task-based syllabus is a series of complex and purposeful tasks that the student want or need to perform with the language they are learning, such as applying for a job, talking with a social worker, getting housing information over the telephone, and so on. Part G, discord or skill syllabus. Discord or skill syllabus emphasizes the discourse which are related with the context of its use. That is skill and strategy syllabus. Skill and strategy syllabus concurrent to be strategies which can be used to teach and assess students' competence and comprehension. Part D, what role should a syllabus play in the course design process? Part A, a language-centered approach atau sebuah pendekatan yang berpusat pada bahasa. Part B, a skill-centered approach, sebuah pendekatan yang berpusat pada keterampilan. Part C, a learning-centered approach, sebuah pendekatan yang berpusat pada pengajaran. And the last part, or Part D, is the post-host approach atau pendekatan post-host. Part A, a language-centered approach atau sebuah pendekatan yang berpusat pada bahasa. The rule of the syllabus in the language-centered approach. The first is analysis target situation atau analisis situasi target. Write syllabus, tulis syllabus. Write or select text to illustrate item in the syllabus. Tulis atau pilih teks untuk mengilustrasikan item dalam syllabus. Write exercise to practice item the syllabus, menulis latihan untuk mempraktikkan item dalam syllabus. And the last is devise text or for assessing knowledge of the item in the syllabus. Jadi yang terakhir adalah rancang teks untuk menilai pengetahuan tentang item dalam syllabus. Part B, a skill-centered approach atau pendekatan yang berpusat pada keterampilan. The rule of the syllabus in a skill-centered approach. The first is analysis target need atau analisis kebutuhan target. Select interesting and representative text. Pilih teks yang menarik dan representatif. Devise a hierarchy of skill to exploit the text. Rancang hierarki keterampilan untuk mengeksploitasi teks. Order and adapt the text as necessary. Pesan dan sesuaikan the text kesesuaian kebutuhan. Devise activities or techniques to teach those skills. Rancang kegiatan atau teknik untuk mengajarkan keterampilan itu. And the last is devise a system to assess the acquisition of the skills. Part C, a learning-centered approach. The rule of syllabus in a learning-centered approach have two levels. Level 1, analysis learning situation, analisis situasi belajar. Create interesting and enjoyable material. Check language and skill content of material and make necessary adjustment. Level 2, analysis target situation, analisis situasi target. Establish general syllabus of topic and tasks. Part D, the first host approach, which the first, write material on underlining criteria. The last is write cosmetic syllabus to satisfy sponsor, teacher, student and the other. Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.